I need to show you something. This is Dave, 62 years old, works at Home Depot. Not because he loves hardware. Because his retirement account has $43,000 in it, he'll work until he physically can't. This is Bill. Same age, same career, same salary his whole life. But Bill retired at 58, plays golf on Tuesdays, takes his grandkids to Disneyland, sleeps like a baby. Two men, same starting point, exposed to the same exact opportunities. So what separated Dave from Bill? 3 decisions they made at 43 years old. That's it. 3 decisions. Dave made the wrong ones. Bill made the right ones. And here's what keeps me up at night. Most people have no idea they're choosing between these 2 futures right now. They think retirement is something that happens to them later. They don't realize they're building one of these 2 lives with every single paycheck. Today, I'm going to show you the exact 3 decisions that separate Dave from Bill. But stick with me until the end, because I'm also going to show you which path you're currently on and how to switch tracks if you don't like the answer. Let's start with Dave's first mistake. Okay, picture Dave at 43. He's doing pretty well. Finally cracked 6 figures, let's say $105,000 a year. Lives in a nice 4-bedroom house. Drives a Toyota Highlander. His wife has a Honda Pilot, 2 kids and travel soccer. On paper, Dave is winning. His neighbors think he's killing it. His LinkedIn looks impressive. But here's what nobody sees. Every single dollar Dave makes is already spent before it arrives. Mortgage, $2,400. 2 car payments, $1,180. Kids' activities, $600. Insurance, phones, subscriptions, utilities. Another $1,100. That's $5,280 in fixed costs. Money that leaves automatically every single month. No flexibility. And Dave brings home about $6,800 after taxes. So every month, Dave has $1,520 left for food, gas, clothes, and everything else. Some months it works. Some months it doesn't. But here's the part that's going to hurt. At age 43, Dave has $67,000 saved for retirement. Sounds okay, right? He's got time. But let me show you what that actually means. At 7% returns with 0 additional contributions, that $67,000 becomes about $296,000 by age 65. Using the 4% rule, the safe withdrawal rate, that gives Dave about $11,800 per year in retirement income, which is $980 per month. Dave's fixed costs right now are $5,280 per month. Even if he pays off his house and cars, he'll still need $2,000 to $3,000 monthly just to survive. Dave is short about $2,000 per month for the rest of his life. That's why 62-year-old Dave works at Home Depot. Not because he's lazy, not because he made terrible decisions, because nobody showed him this math when it mattered. All right, so after hearing Dave's story, you're probably asking yourself, what did Bill do differently? The guy playing golf and taking grandkids to Disneyland? And let me be clear, Bill didn't start a business, didn't get lucky with Bitcoin, didn't inherit money. He just understood something Dave never figured out. Those 3 decisions that change everything. But before that, if this is making sense so far, if you're starting to see the math, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and like this video. It all started with the first decision, which was the house choice. Decision 1, the house choice. When Dave was 38, he went house shopping. The bank ran his numbers and said, "Great news, you're approved for $480,000. Dave heard, you can afford a $480,000 house. So he bought one. Nice neighborhood, good schools, 4 bedrooms, big backyard. Monthly payment with taxes and insurance, $2,400. Seemed reasonable. That's what houses cost, right? Bill did something weird. He was approved for the same $480,000. But he bought a house for $340,000, 3 bedrooms instead of 4. Slightly less fancy neighborhood. His monthly payment, $1,650. Difference, $750 per month. Now here's where your brain needs to pay attention. $750 per month difference. Over 22 years, from age 43 to 65, that adds up to $198,000. That's $198,000 extra that Dave handed to the bank. Bill never had to spend. But wait, we're not done. Bill took that $750 difference and invested it every single month in a boring index fund. At 7% annual returns, that $750 per month becomes over $440,000 by age 65. Let me say that again. The difference between buying the $480,000 house and the $340,000 house? Just that one decision. created a gap of nearly $500,000 at retirement. Same salary, same city, same decade. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. But wait, the bigger house appreciates more. Doesn't that make up the difference? Fair question. Let's do the math. At 3.5% annual appreciation, which is the historical average, the $480,000 house grows to about $1,017,000 after 22 years. The $340,000 house grows to about $721,000. That's a $296,000 difference in home equity. So Dave wins, right? Not so fast. Bill invested that $750 per month. At 7% returns, he has $440,000 in investments. So let's add it up. Dave has a house worth $1,017,000. Bill has a house worth $721,000, plus $440,000 in investments. That's $1,161,000 total. Bill is still ahead by over $140,000. But here's what really matters. Dave's wealth is locked inside his house. He can't spend his walls. He can't eat his roof. To access that money, he'd have to sell his home or take out a reverse mortgage. Bill, he has $440,000 in liquid investments he can access anytime, plus a paid-off home he can live in. And we haven't even talked about the extra property taxes, insurance, utilities, and maintenance on the bigger house. That easily adds another $300 per month. Over 22 years, that's almost $80,000 more. So no, the bigger house doesn't win. And let me tell you this, I'm just getting started. Because decision 2? It might be even more expensive. Decision 2, the car trap. Let me tell you about the two-car death spiral. Dave and his wife pay $1,180 per month for 2 cars. That's normal because the average new car payment is $750. Used is $530. They upgrade every 6 years. But watch what this actually costs. $1,180 per month. Over 22 years, 4 upgrade cycles. Total spent $311,520. And after spending $311,000, Dave owns 2 cars worth maybe $12,000. He spent $311,000 to own $12,000 worth of metal. The other $299,000 gone to banks. Interest, depreciation. But Bill did something embarrassing. At 43, he bought 2 reliable used cars, a 4-year-old Camry and 5-year-old CR-V for $30,000 total, cash. Then he split his $1,180 into 2 things. $400 per month into a next car savings fund, $780 per month into index funds. Every 7 to 8 years when a car dies, he's got $35,000 saved. Buys another used car in cash. Over 22 years. He total spent on cars, $95,000. Repairs may have cost $44,000. And total transportation cost, $139,000. Dave spent $311,000. Bill spent $139,000. Cash saved, $172,000. On top of that, Bill invested $780 per month. At 7% for 22 years, that is $458,000. And maybe you're thinking, those used cars Bill buys must break down a lot. But you need to understand this. Bill isn't buying junkers. He's buying 4-year-old Toyotas, the most reliable vehicles on Earth. These hit 200,000 miles easily. And guess what? Dave's new cars need repairs too, except his parts cost more. And he's still making payments while fixing them. New cars don't buy reliability. They buy the illusion of reliability. Decision 3, the lifestyle creep monster. Okay, the third decision is different. It's not one big moment. It's 1,000 tiny moments, and that's what makes it so dangerous. It's called lifestyle creep, and it works like this. Dave at 35 made $70,000. He spent $65,000, saved $5,000. At 40, he made $90,000. He spent $85,000, saved $5,000. At 45, he made $105,000. He spent $100,000, saved $5,000. See the pattern? His income went up $35,000 over 10 years. His savings stayed exactly the same. Every single raise got absorbed. Better restaurants, upgraded vacations, premium subscriptions, delivery instead of cooking. None of these felt like big decisions. They felt earned. I work hard. I deserve this. And that sentence, I deserve this, is the most expensive sentence in the English language. Bill used a simple rule. I call it the 50-50 rule. Every time he got a raise, he did this. 50% went to lifestyle. Yes, he upgraded some things. He's not a monk. 50% went to investments, automatically, before he saw it. He got a $5,000 raise, $2,500 improved his life, $2,500 improved his future. Simple, sustainable, not painful. Over 22 years, this one rule meant Bill invested an extra $3,500 per year on average. At 7% returns, another $172,000. Now let's add it up. Decision 1, the house, $440,000 difference. Decision 2, the cars, $458,000 difference. Decision 3, lifestyle creep, $172,000 difference. Total difference, $1,070,000. Over $1 million. From 3 decisions, no different salary, no inheritance, no lottery, no crypto, just choosing slightly different paths at 43. This is why your 40s decide everything. Now you might be watching this and thinking, I already bought the big house, already have the car payments, already let lifestyle creep happen, so I'm just screwed? No, and here's why. The problem was never the house or the cars or the subscriptions. The problem is you can't see where your money goes. I mean, literally. You don't have a clear picture. Most people couldn't tell you within $500 how much they spend on fixed costs each month. They have a vague sense, a feeling, but not real numbers. And you can't fix what you can't see. Let me tell you the difference between people who stay stuck and people who escape. Stuck people operate in what I call fog mode. They know they should save more. They feel guilty when they spend, but they never look directly at the numbers because the numbers feel scary, so they stay in the fog. Free people operate in clarity mode. They know their exact fixed costs. They know their exact margin. People don't have clarity. Subscriptions they forgot about. Insurance they're overpaying. Services they don't use. The average person finds between $200 to $500 per month in invisible spending they can redirect. That's $2,400 to $6,000 per year. That's potentially $100,000 plus over the next 20 years, just from looking clearly at what's already happening. Okay, so here's where I can give you something practical. A simple test called Fixed Cost Percentage Test. It tells you, with brutal honesty, whether you're becoming Dave or Bill. Here's how it works. Step 1, add up your monthly fixed costs. Fixed costs are anything that happens automatically. Mortgage/rent, car payments, insurance, subscriptions, anything you're locked into. Don't guess. Pull your statements. Add it up. Let's call this number F. Step 2. Calculate your monthly take-home pay. Not gross income, what actually hits your bank account. After taxes, after 401k contributions. Let's call this number T. Step 3. Divide F by T. Multiply by 100. That's your fixed cost percentage. Here's how to read your number. Under 50%. You're in good shape, you have a margin, you're probably going to be okay. 50 to 60% is caution zone. You're stable, but one bad month could hurt. Look for places to trim. 60 to 70% is danger zone. You're living with almost no flexibility. Dave territory. Something needs to change. Over 70% is emergency. You're one unexpected expense away from credit card debt or worse. You're building the Home Depot future. And that's all for today. If you find this video life-changing, make sure you hit the like button and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more of these kinds of videos. Thanks for watching.